Alright, what's up everybody? We're back with another edition of Everyday Hoops. Hope you guys are having a good one. Today, I'm going to be ranking my top 10 point guards in the NBA right now. The NBA season is starting very soon. We're about 20-ish days away from the season starting. Preseason starts tomorrow. Media day was the other day. Just very, very excited for what this season has to bring, and now we're going to start doing rankings and stuff like that, starting today with the point guards. Thank you guys for views on the videos and the shorts recently. I really appreciate it. If you enjoyed the content around here, consider subscribing, like, turn notifications to all stuff like that. I really appreciate it. Really upset a lot. And yeah, don't waste any more of your time. Let's get right into it. Before we get into the top 10 list, just want to say these are my personal opinions from my personal top 10 point guards. If you have any differences in me, that's okay. You know, there's so many different point guards, so many great point guards here. It's reasonable to have different opinions, so don't come after me crazy, all right? It's just who I think top 10 point guards. If you have a different one, that's okay. And yeah, we're going to get right into it, starting at number 10, where we have Indiana Pacers star Tyrese Halliburton. Halliburton coming off making his first All-Star appearance. Last year, he had played 56 games. He averaged 20 points, 3 rebounds, and 10 assists with 1.6 steals, while shooting 49% from the field and 40% from three. Ever since the trade from the Kings to the Pacers, he has become the franchise player over there in Indiana. He's been so great. Scoring, he can do that. Obviously, really efficient shooter from three especially. But his passing ability is just amazing. The way he can find open guys out in transition, especially the way he can make his teammates around him better. Love how he plays fast, plays with good pace, and he's just the great guy to have as your kind of center of the offense. You know, he's controlling everything. He's not just gonna, go get his all the time. He's gonna get his own when he needs to, but he likes finding his own teammates, getting out there, and I think the Pacers are gonna have a really good year. Last season, before Tyrese Halliburton suffered an injury, the Pacers were like a top 5 team in the East. Tyrese Halliburton had the Indiana Pacers at the top 5 seed in the Eastern Conference before he got hurt, and then they went a big losing streak, and then they just couldn't make it up after he came back. But big things would come for Tyrese. He also played this year in the World Cup, where he was really, really good. He just got a max extension as well this offseason, and I'm very excited to see what the Pacers can be. And the Pacers really could be a team fighting for a playoff spot again this year, and a big part of that is because Tyrese Halliburton is so great. So yeah, he is my number 10. At my number 9, I have Jamal Murray from the Denver Nuggets. Murray, in 2023, he played 65 games in the regular season. He averaged 20 points, 4 rebounds, 6 assists, and a steal, shooting 45% from the field and 39% from 3. In the playoffs, he was amazing, as during their championship run, he averaged 26 points, 5 rebounds, and 7 assists while shooting 47% from the field and 39% from 3. He's a very interesting guy to rank on this list because, again, the regular season, he's not bad, absolutely not bad, but he's a playoff player. When it comes down to the playoffs, Jamal Murray is a top 10 guy. He had an amazing run, especially in that conference final series against the Lakers. He was really dominating and won himself a championship, being the second best player on a team. He just fits so well with Nikola Jokic. He's just so good when he comes to playoff time. He knows that it's time to raise his level, and he's really good. Tough shot maker, efficient shot maker, and it's just a great player to have on this team. Especially if you factor in that he came off missing an entire season in 2022 where he tore his ACL at the end of the 2021 season, missed the entirety of last season, then comes in this year and wins the NBA championship. Just amazing. And the Nuggets are going nowhere for the next year or a few years, so he might be an all-star, arguably the best player in the league right now that has ever made an all-star team. Jamal, he's just so good, and he had an amazing playoff run to cap off him deserving on this list. Even though he maybe doesn't have the statistics of a lot of these guys on this list, and a lot of the guys that didn't make the list, he made up for it in the playoffs. At number 8, I have Jalen Brunson of the New York Knicks. Brunson had an insane season last year after playing a few years in Dallas. Got a big contract with New York. A lot of people thought it wasn't going to be a great contract, and year one he came out and proved everyone wrong. Last year in 2023, he played in 68 games, averaged 24 points, 3 rebounds, and 6 assists, while shooting 49% from the field, 41% from 3. Led the Knicks to the second round of the playoffs. Really became the number 1 in New York. Now, he was originally supposed to go there, be under Julius Randle and maybe RJ. With the Mavericks, he was always playing next to Luka. He didn't really get his own shine, except for last year when Luka was injured. In the playoffs, he played really good. and people were thinking, maybe he could be the starting point guard on the team. So the Knicks were the team that went out and took the chance, gave him the contract, said, you know what, JB, we kind of believe in you, go ahead, we'll see what you can do. And he blew up in his first season. I mean, going from 16 4-4 to 24 3-6, and the shooting numbers not fall off. He shot better from 3 than he did last year on more attempts. He also played for Team USA in the FIBA World Cup, and he's probably gonna be an all-star next year. I mean, he just lit the Knicks on fire. Has become the kind of the number one, I feel like, in New York. They're building around him, and he's just so crafty. Small point guard, but he could score inside. Has great footwork. Not afraid, tough. Can shoot the 3-ball well. Very efficient. Really good passer. He's just a great starting PG to have. And last year really opened a lot of eyes for Brunson with the Knicks, and I would not be surprised if he's an all-star this season because he has been so good. At number 7, I have James Harden. Harden last season for the 76ers, even though he didn't have the statistics season that we're used to seeing him have, he still had a really, really good and kind of underrated at this point now season. He played 58 games, averaged 21.6 rebounds and 10.7 assists, leading the NBA with a steal, while shooting 44% from the field and 38% three. He has some good playoff games as well. Not a great overall series, but he still was pretty good. I feel like because of what's going on right now with James Harden, that whole situation is kind of making us see James Harden maybe in a little bit of a different light than what we used to see. But let's not forget, James Harden had a really good season last year. 21 6 and almost 11. That's crazy. He also had his best field goal shooting percentage in a while. He has best 3-point shooting season ever of his career. Taking 7 a game. Like, he was pretty good last year. He's not the old same James Harden that we're used to seeing, obviously in Houston and stuff, because his role has changed a lot and he's a lot older now. But James Harden is still a top 10 point guard in this league. I don't know what his situation is going to be going on right now, and we're not going to talk about that right now because we talked about it so much already, and we're going to talk about it more because more stuff is coming out. But let's not forget who James Harden is and how important he is to the 76ers' success, At number 6, I have Trae Young. Trae Young last year in Atlanta, playing in 73 games, he averaged 26 points, 3 rebounds, and 10 assists per game with the steal, while shooting 43% for the field and 33% from 3. Now, the Hawks had a pretty disappointing season last year. Got a big acquisition in DeJounte Murray, and kind of didn't really get much better. They kind of stayed the same, if not maybe even a little bit worse. Still made the playoffs. Trae Young did not make the All-Star team last year, and Trae Young was very interesting to put on this list because, obviously statistically, he's up there. 26 and 10, those are crazy numbers, obviously. But it's just the other things that factor in with Trae Young, his play style of him kind of being a one-man show, or trying to be a one-man show over there in Atlanta. Him and DeJounte not fitting well so far through a year. The shooting numbers as well. He had a pretty bad shooting season, similar to his rookie year. A lot of stuff been said about that, but let's not forget who Trae Young is. It's kind of similar to James Harden in a sense. It's like, let's not forget who Trae Young really is. Realistically, he is a top 10 point guard in this league, pushing top 5. When he's really on his game, and even though he wasn't really super on his game last year, he still had a really solid season. I'm expecting a bounce back year from Trae Young. I'm expecting him to come out and prove why he's a top 5 point guard in the league this year. And I can't wait to see how the Hawks look. But Trae Young is an insane offense. By himself, he's a top 10 offense, and he's amazing. He's an amazing player. It's just a lot of other things have to be fixed for him and Atlanta to succeed. At number 5, I have De'Aaron Fox. We're in the top 5 now. I was very surprised looking at this list and thinking De'Aaron Fox might be top 5. And for me, he ended up at number 5. He had an amazing season last year with the Kings. He played in 73 games. He averaged 25 points, 4 rebounds, 6 assists, and a steal, shooting 51% from the field, 32% from 3. Made his first All-Star team, the Kings. He also made All-NBA. The Kings were top 3 seed in the Western Conference for making the playoffs for the first time in 16 years. And De'Aaron was just amazing last year. I've been a fan of De'Aaron ever since he came out of Kentucky. In Sacramento, he just wasn't really getting much love because it was the Kings, obviously. But this year, he really got his love and more. Really improved. It was just amazing in Sacramento. His quickness is insane. He could get to the bucket and score with the best of them. Very efficient shooting. 51% from the field as a point guard. And not, like, as a point guard that drives. Like, he's really good. But also his three-point shot, even though percentage-wise it's not really amazing. Obviously, 32% isn't that great. But, you know, taking 5 a game, and he can hit them when he matters. He won Clutch Player of the Year last year as well. Turned up when the Kings really needed him. He stepped up in a huge way. And he was just, he's just an amazing player. I can't wait to see what this season holds for him and the Kings. But De'Aaron, man, De'Aaron is the Fox. You know, Swiper is really like that. At number 4, I have Ja Morant. Morant last year, he played in 61 games with the Grizzlies. He averaged 26 points, 6 rebounds, 8 assists, and a steal while shooting 46% from the field, 30% from 3. Made the All-Star team as well. Now, of course, the off-the-court stuff has kind of, you know, hindered, I feel like, how we look at Ja and a lot of that stuff. But Ja Morant is a top 5 point guard in the league, and he is the franchise of the Memphis Grizzlies. He has led the Grizzlies back into being a fun, young, really good team. I mean, the stuff he can do, he's a human highlight reel in himself. The athleticism, obviously, the dunks, the crazy plays he makes is amazing. But at the end of the day, he's also just a great basketball player, you know. Really good at finding his teammates, solid defensively. You know, again, gets to the rim and is very, not the most efficient maybe he could be, but he still can get it done and just ignites so much fire for the Grizzlies. He really leads the Grizzlies and really is like the main kind of it factor for the Memphis Grizzlies. Now, of course, off the court stuff, he's got to get better at that. Obviously, he's going to miss the first 25 games of the season, which sucks for Memphis. But let's not forget Ja Morant. When he is on that court, he is spectacular. At number 3, I have Damian Lillard, the new Milwaukee Buck. Now, that's going to be interesting to say. Last year, Dame played 58 games with Portland and averaged 32 points, 4 rebounds, and 7 assists while shooting 46% from the field, 37% from 3. At 32 years old, still putting up the numbers that he is. It's actually insane. He's now going to be in Milwaukee, which is going to be great. I made a video about that. Obviously, you can go back and watch it. But Dame is Dame. I mean, he's a premier superstar point guard in the league. And coming off a career year at 32, numbers-wise, insane. 32 points per game. He had a 71-point game last season. I mean, Dame is just, I mean, you can't really say much more about Damian Lillard. It's Damian Lillard. You know what I mean? I'm very excited to see how he plays out in Milwaukee. Now he finally has a chance, the best chance in his career, to go after that Larry O'B and really solidify himself as a premier point guard in league history. Not even just in league history. At number 2, I have the Luka Doncic. Last year in 66 games with the Mavericks, he averaged 32 points, 8 rebounds, 8 assists, and a steal, shooting 49% from the field, 34% from 3. Luka Doncic is great, even though the Mavericks unfortunately had a disappointing season after being in the conference finals 2 years ago, missing out on the playoffs last year. I'm expecting big things from Luka and from the Mavericks this season. You know, they've regrouped, they got a new team, a lot more additions, and Luka, you saw in the FIBA World Cup, you see it now, he looks a lot more in shape, obviously, which is the big thing about Doncic. But I mean, him by himself is just an insane offense. I mean, this guy is, you forget, this dude is 24. He is 24 years old, and he's already made 4 All-Star teams, 4 All-NBA teams, the conference finals. He averaged 32, 8, and 8. Like, this dude, like, if he keeps going on what he's been doing for his career, I mean, he's gonna end up being one of the greatest of all time when it's all said and done. I mean, at 24 years old, he's already got a better resume than a lot of other people. You know, at 24, he's still got at least, 10, 11, 12 more years left of this. Like, the sky's the limit, really, for Luka, and him being 24 years old and so young, already being a consensus, like, top 3 point guard is crazy. So, yeah, man, Luka is great, and can't wait to see what he does for the rest of his career, but what he does for the Mavericks this season as well. And our number 1, it should not be that shocking that I have Steph Curry as the best point guard in the league. Last year with the Warriors, he played in 56 games. He averaged 29 points, 6 rebounds, 6 assists, while shooting 49% from the field, 42% from 3. I mean, it's Steph Curry. You know what I mean? Like, we don't really have to talk a whole lot about Steph Curry, it's Steph Curry. He's one of the arguably the greatest point guard in NBA history. The resume speaks for himself. The name speaks for himself. Last year they made it to the second round. Now with the addition of Chris Paul and all that stuff, very interested to see how that works with him. But I know Steph's gonna be fine, and Steph's gonna have another great year. I'm just wondering, when is Steph really gonna slow down? You know, when is the year that Steph really slows down? Because he's 35. We forget Steph is 35 years old. Steph's not gonna be around for that much longer in the league. You know, so I'm very not interested because I want to see Steph be great, obviously. But I just want to know, when's the end of the year that we see Steph kind of take a step back. I mean, obviously it's not going to be as crazy as others because, I mean, the shooting ability never leaves you. So as long as he has that, he's going to be fine. But I'm just interested to see when Steph stops being, if Steph stops being, you know, the consensus #1 point guard. You know, I just want to see when that's going to come. But right now, just appreciate Steph while we have him because he is absolutely phenomenal. But yeah, that's it for today. Hope you guys enjoyed. Some guys I missed the cut on this list. Drew Holiday and Darius Garland were high considerations at 11 and 12. Yeah, they almost made it, but they just couldn't crack it. But they were there. And if you didn't see a guy that you thought was gonna be on this list, he's probably gonna be a shooting guard. Like Shea is a shooting guard to me, at least. He's listed, so he's on the shooting guard list. And a lot of other guys that were all stars and stuff last year that didn't make the list are probably 2 guards in other positions. So yeah, but once again, if you like the content, consider subscribing, turn notifications on, stuff like that. I really appreciate it. Really upset a lot. We'll be back with shooting guards on Friday, and yeah, I'll see you guys tomorrow.